so much for joining us today for the award ceremony. If everyone could start to settle in, we'll get started. We have some really amazing work to recognize, but first I am going to turn it over to Ted Knowlton for a brief presentation.
Hey, can we give a thanks to Alyssa for leading the awards committee and hosting this today? Now, I bet you guys on the bottom floor didn't know that there's a raging party up above. Did you know that? Yeah, it's true. I want to do a short reflection on the growth inflection point that we are in now, and a key strategy that we're all leaning into together, and that is creating great places, great downtowns, great city and town centers, including the one we are in right now. You know, when I came back to Utah 30 years ago and participated in the Envision Utah process, we had another growth inflection point back then. And we were asking ourselves, what should we do differently together? And one of the key things that we aligned on is we need to grow more inward and align that with a new public transportation system that we can create. And here was the interesting thing that I found being part of that process is it was this unusual alignment between something that we knew had regional benefits and something that resonated locally. So when I would go out to visit with local government leaders and ask them, you know, what do you want in your community? So often they'd say, there's not really a there here. That was a funny sentence. We don't have the sense of place that Mitchell talked about. It's the same thing. We can grow more inward and create great places and have that be a central response to the growth inflection point. It is the same today. And part of the reason why I'm up here talking about it is in the Wasatch Choice Vision process, we've taken a second together to reflect on our progress, and it is very significant. This is as salient as it has ever been. Centers are working. Did you know that 15 years ago in the greater Wasatch Front, and a similar story outside of the Wasatch Front, we had 75,000 homes in our downtowns, our city and town centers, 75,000, and in 15 years, we have doubled that number. This is working, and it's a central, agreed upon, aligned space that finds this wonderful opportunity where local leaders, regional entities, us as planning, the planning community, we are all behind the same strategy, and we need to lean into it. One last thing before I cue up a short video is a few years ago, the local governments that are part of the Wasatch Choice Vision process, developing that, they said, I can't remember the number, forgive me. They had a certain number of centers that they were working to create, and they've now doubled that. And so when we look into the future, the centers that we want to create, it is now 2x what it used to be. So we're making progress, and we want to lean into it. I hope you'll work with me to do that together. Here's a video, and then right after the video, we'll go back to our awards ceremony. Thank you so much for the time.
Utah is growing, and communities across the region have a plan, the Wasatch Choice Vision. This vision preserves what we love about Utah while enhancing our quality of life. One way it's working is through city and town centers, the hearts of our communities, where people can live, work, and play. There are centers in big cities and small towns that suit the unique needs of our communities. Downtown Ogden is the economic, entertainment, and transportation hub of northern Utah. In Clearfield's downtown, older commercial areas now have homes and a new library, efficiently using existing infrastructure. In Bountiful, their Main Street and Town Square serve as the community's gathering place. People enjoy shopping, skating, attending concerts at the bandshell, and browsing the park's farmers market in this historic part of town. and many live nearby in townhomes, apartments, condos, and single-family homes.
So we love our Main Street, we love our town square. It's really the heart of our community and where all of our vibrancy comes from.
Mill Creek is a medium-sized city that has brought a mixed-use city center to life.
Before Mill Creek Common, Mill Creek lacked a downtown or a gathering place. So we've reinvented this place, created a center, and we have attractions here for the public, a splash pad for little kids, an ice ribbon and roller skating. And then we brought city services here. Our city hall is here, our police department is here. It's truly a community gathering spot and a civic center.
Downtown Daybreak in South Jordan has taken off.
The city of South Jordan is proud to be home to the beautiful master plan community of Daybreak, and we're working closely with our partners to create an amazing place that benefits all of our residents here and everyone in the southwest quarter of Salt Lake County. We are creating a regional hub where you can live, work, play, dine, shop. We're trying to make sure it's easy for everyone to get to.
Pleasant Grove's Main Street is core to the city's identity, and they've added an exciting new city park for families. Provo's City Center features stunning plazas, public art, and a welcoming streetscape set amidst revitalized, historic, and new buildings, making it a beautiful place folks want to be.
Year-round residents and college students alike enjoy Provo City Center and its unique entertainment, diversity of cuisine, and shopping. They can get here however they want, whether that's by car, train, bus, bike, or walking. No matter how they get here, they're glad they came.
Centers come in various forms, each tailored to its community. Yet the benefits of centers extend beyond their immediate neighborhoods. Centers help us provide more homes overall. By coordinating with transportation choices, centers make it easier to get to school, shopping, and job opportunities, helping to reduce traffic congestion. Creating ways for growth to occur within these centers also helps conserve open spaces and farms. And homes in centers, on average, use less water, a precious resource, especially in Utah. In short, centers work, and every city can create or enhance a center that its residents love, now and in the future. Together, we have a plan, and it's working. So let's keep going.
Thank you, Ted, for sharing the Wasatch Choice Center's presentation. And I also just want to give a couple of thank yous through this award process. Our awards committee works on developing the awards nomination process and reviewing nominees from April through, we're doing work through right before the conference, and in fact we have a group backstage that's helping us today. So I want to give a huge shout out and recognition for those who help on the awards committee. So if you join me in a quick round of applause for them. We put this awards process together in coordination with the Nevada APA chapter. So the Utah chapter actually reviews their awards and they review ours so that we can have some true objective input on our projects and process. So we want to thank the Nevada chapter and then also some of our other partners that we have worked with in putting together this presentation and engaging with our award winners. So we want to thank Swift Peak Productions and Creative Essence Studios for their work with nominees and helping us do the filming and videography. For this presentation, we think it provides a great opportunity for recognition. So thank you, please clap, sorry. All right, and then we also need to give a huge shout out to Josh Yost for saving the awards ceremony. Thank you for bringing the awards today. Perfect. Well, I will just give a quick rundown of how this is our presentations are going to go. So we'll read some comments about the award and the nominee, and then we'll invite the nominee onto the stage for some photos, and then we have worked diligently to create videos showcasing each awarded project and individual in hopes of really capturing the great work that they're doing here in Utah. So without further ado, I will get us started by introducing the George Smeeth Planning Student Award. The George Smeeth Planning Student Award is awarded to a student enrolled in an academic planning program in Utah for outstanding achievement during the nominee's academic career. This awardee is a PhD candidate in the City and Metropolitan Planning at the University of Utah, who has sought to bridge the gap between research and real-world planning through collaborative work with agencies, peer-reviewed publications, and conference presentations. She has contributed to student-led initiatives, key statewide projects funded by UDOT and UTA, and served in roles that reflect dedication to both planning, education, and practice. She brings a focus on sustainable and equitable transportation solutions grounded in a deep understanding of Utah's planning challenges and opportunities to her work. APA Utah is proud to award the 2025 George Smeeth Planning Student Award to Hannah Kalantari. Hannah, if you would please come to the stage.
My name is Hannah. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Utah in City and Metropolitan Planning. I work with Dr. Ewing as his research assistant. I also teach in our department. What excites me the most about planning is how it impacts people's quality of life. And I'm a transportation planner specifically because it's all about how to make cities more livable, more connected, and giving people more choices, better choices to move around. Planning is a team sport. I believe best solutions come when you bring different voices and perspectives together. I grew up in a city which is one of the most densely populated cities in the world. It has the big city challenges and problems. It's just like congested and air pollution, long commutes to and work and from work. It's just like parts of normal life there. That stuck with me. And I thought that, okay, that made me curious how cities work. And I wanted to actually start a measure that I can directly impact people's quality of life. That's how I ended up with planning. I thought that planning, specifically transportation planning, was the clearest answer to that. My work is specifically data-driven research on the interaction between land use and transportation, which means that in a nutshell, if I want to explain it, is how urban form impacts travel behavior. Most cities in the US, to the best of my knowledge, most of them are very sprawling, which means that even I, as a transportation planner, when I first stepped in the US, the first thing I thought that I'm going to need was a car. I mean, simply even for grocery shopping, you need cars. And I thought that, okay, I cannot live without a car. So that's how car-oriented and car-dependent cities in the U.S., most cities in the U.S. are. I believe that transit-oriented developments, more compact, more diverse in land use, mix of land use, and better street design so that we can have better access to key destinations is actually the key, the response to this question, that how we can make cities more livable. I mean, there are lots of projects that I've worked on and I'm really proud of. But most specifically, if I have to choose one project that I talk about, it's probably the one that I'm going to present in a session tomorrow is titled Transit Land Use Multiplier Effect, talking about how new transit investment, the impact is beyond just like simple ridership, which is a direct effect. If you want to know more, please attend the session.
Okay, our next award is the Ted Knowlton Planning Leadership Award. This award honors a professional planner or elected official in recognition of significant and unique contributions to the profession through their distinguished practice while employed or volunteering in Utah. The awardee for this award has no shortage of positive comments said about him. As a development planner for Salt Lake City, I was always struck by his positive can-do attitude about work and trying to connect the dots and solve the issues. His presence and personality often said to leave a positive impact or an everlasting impression on those who interact with him. Speaking for myself, on days when I was not in the mood to be at work, I always found that his positivity helped me along. He's an advocate for accessibility and ability awareness, having spent time consulting and designing ADA accessible spaces and serving on boards and commissions for numerous organizations and planning efforts. The person who nominated him stated that planning in Utah is enriched by his involvement and contributions. APA Utah is proud to award the 2025 Ted Knowlton Planning Leadership Award to Scott Browning.
My name is Scott Browning. I work for Salt Lake City as a Senior Development Review Planner. So one thing on my career that has had an impact is the opportunity to work directly with the clients and helping them understand the ordinance and requirements and explaining what needs to be shown on their plans that they submit to us, saying their appreciation for the city's commitment to clear communication and health services has been incredibly helpful. The most rewarding aspect of my career as a planner has been the ability to create a better design solution for the environment. To be effective leaders in the communities, planners have responsibility to educate and responsibility to engage the public in meaningful ways. I've served on several ADA boards in the city and surrounding communities, working to promote accessibility and inclusive designs. Leadership starts, in my opinion, with communication through the public engagement. One of the key challenges that I faced in my work as a planner has been learning to navigate my own limitations of my disability. All my supervisors have had patience, and technology has become a vital tool for myself. There's a significant amount of information that needs to be communicated clearly to customers, and with the right tools and support, I've been able to meet these expectations and continue growing in my role. I feel that Salt Lake City is in the spotlight for the state and used as an example for many jurisdictions. Thank you to our good team and our wonderful leaders have been able to provide excellent service, beautiful designs, and forward-thinking processes. The advice I would give to aspiring planners is to make your city beautiful and use it as kind of an example for the general public and visitors to see. This profession does not make any individual wealthy, but the wealth comes from a well-planned environment and well-planned surroundings for all to enjoy. Commitment to the profession with an open mind, wanting to help the environment and your surroundings will help immensely. As aspiring planners, creating an attractive city and destination is the reward.
Okay, I have the honor to present the Gene Moser Award. This award honors a person who is neither a professional planner nor an elected official for a significant contribution in excellence in planning. Nominees may be a commissioner, member of a development board, or appointed official, or even an interested citizen who is living and working in Utah. This awardee has served on a planning commission for several years and served state planners as a prior APA Utah citizen planner liaison. Her work has demonstrated deep dedication, knowledge, and leadership in shaping Utah cities as she served her community. A planner who knows her said her ability to balance vision with practicality while maintaining an unwavering commitment to the public good embodies the spirit of the Gene Moser Award. APA Utah is honored to recognize Christine Anderson with the 2025 Gene Moser Award.
I'm Christine Anderson. I serve as the American Fork City Planning Commission chairwoman. My degree is in linguistics, so I love diversity and I value communication across boundaries, but planning was a new thing for me. I was first introduced to planning when people in my neighborhood were concerned about a development. Over the next few years, I went to meetings and talked to the very patient planning staff so much that it shouldn't have surprised me when they asked if I'd serve on the commission. So I've been serving now for 11 years and I've been chairwoman for 5 years. What interests me most about planning is how it affects every aspect of a person's life, from wealth to education, housing, health, and planners are at such a central role for ensuring equity. It's an exciting time to be a planner because change can start here. One rewarding moment of being a planning commissioner came as a surprise. My husband gave me a gift. It's a huge board of a map of my city and it has dots all over it. He had painstakingly gone through every single agenda and marked dots on the addresses of anything that I had had an effect on as a commissioner. It was surprising to me to see my city with my print all over it, and I wanted to say to all planners and planning commissioners that sometimes we don't step back and see all the effect that we're having, but you have a great impact. My kids told me a while ago that they thought planning was just a mom thing. It was like something that moms do. And it's been fun to see this kind of trickle into my family. They're used to having conversations with me about flexible housing and zoning and transit next to density. I showed them the online survey put on by the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget called Guiding Our Growth. And they were locked in, and it made planners out of all of them, even down to the 10-year-old. We're all in this work because we care so deeply about making wonderful places, but sometimes it's easy to get busy with the minutia of measurements, and we wish we could be doing the meaningful work that we set out to do in the first place. So my advice to all of us would be to put our energies toward the things that made us fall in love with this work. When we share our vision and promote the things that we're passionate about, we can do amazing things.
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to present an award this morning, and this one is the Gene Carr Award. So this award honors an individual for outstanding contributions to planning education or training in Utah. The awardee is well known for providing planners and elected and appointed officials with educational experiences throughout Utah. She has created written and online resources. She consistently presents at conferences for the Utah League of Cities and Towns and Utah Land Use Institute, the American Planning Association, and other organizations to share her knowledge and abilities. Her impact on planning in Utah is widespread. From rural to urban communities across the state, APA is proud to recognize Meg Ryan with the 2025 Gene Carr Award.
I'm Meg Ryan. I work with the Utah League of Cities and Towns. I am the Senior Land Use Planner, which just means gray hair, and I've been with them for over 20 years. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the Utah chapter and all its members for this award, and I think that one of the most rewarding things, hands down, in my professional career has been the people. Inside my organization and outside, the elected and appointed officials and the planners. Just the dedication that they show and take to this profession and the time and commitment is just amazing to me. I think at the League of Cities and Towns, we strive to dissect the state law into local vernacular. In other words, how do we take this statute that's 1,000 pages and actually communicate what it is that you have to do at the local level? Our big mantra is one size doesn't fit all, but it's very true here in the state of Utah. And again, hopefully we can continue to tell our story. So overcoming challenges in the planning profession, I think, comes in my line of work with a healthy dose of collaboration, communication, and humor. I think we need to have a little bit of humor to get through some of the tough decisions that we make at the local level. So again, advice to younger planners. First of all, thank you. Thank you for coming into the profession. I hope you continue the legacy. The critical thinking that you bring to our profession brings balance. And I can encourage you to continue to tell our story. What do I mean by that? Our story at the local level. What kind of community we're building and shaping. No matter if you're stamping a permit plan at the building department counter or if you're before the city council advocating for housing policy, it all matters. And it's really important to keep telling our story so that we can continue to create unique communities in the state of Utah. Well, remember, here in the state of Utah, we've traded transparency for efficiency at the local level. That's through state regulations and maybe through some of our own regulations. And we help to try to educate not only planning commissioners on that, but also planning commissioners and elected officials need to educate the public so that we can walk them through this different process. We're not a business, we're community builders.
All right, the moment you've all been waiting for, the Planning Tool Award. All right, this award honors specific planning tool practice, program, project, process, or effort that has accomplished positive changes. This award emphasizes innovation, transferability, and long-term measurable success. The review panel described that the originality of this project comes from the background and community context to address specific challenges of a historic district. This plan and design guideline responded to community preference surveys and provides legitimacy through public engagement. APA Utah is proud to provide recognition to Santa Clara City for the Santa Clara Historic District Design Guidelines with the 2025 Planning Tool Award. Santa Clara City. Would anyone like to receive this for Santa Clara City? Looks like Alyssa gets it. Should we take a picture?
Oh, sure. I was going to say, if Cody Christensen is here, I think that we would love to pass this off to you.
I've been serving on the Santa Clara Heritage Commission for several years, and there came a need to rewrite the historic district guidelines for the city. Southern Utah is growing like crazy, as everyone knows, and Santa Clara is unique in that it still has the majority of its downtown, the historic downtown area, still intact. And what really was the tipping point is there was a large building that was proposed, it was 30,000 square feet to be built across the street from the Jacob Hamlet home, which is probably one of, if not the oldest, one of the oldest historic homes in southern Utah.
So our city council had adopted a moratorium, which by state code gives us 6 months to put a new code or ordinance in place. The guidelines that we have that were previously adopted only dealt with residential. It did not deal with commercial.
Because this community has lots of smaller, homes that are Greek Revival, bungalow, craftsman, cottage, etc. Those are all fairly small pieces of architecture. To have some large commercial building that dwarfs the size of these smaller facilities and so on is, like a screen door in a submarine. It just doesn't work.
The first thing we did was a community survey. Over 80% felt very strongly that this area should be preserved. We want to see a vibrant, beautiful downtown community instead of replacing the old homes, using the old homes as boutiques, cafes, continue the spirit of Santa Clara as a gathering place, a place that community can be together, and that we can still love and respect and cherish the history of this community.
We have a lot of homes that have historic significance that are transferring or, through adaptive reuse or becoming commercial and office space. And we like that in our community. And this helps guide and direct them through our process. You're going to have to go to Heritage Commission, Planning Commission, and City Council before you can build a building or reuse a building. That's why we've put the historic district mixed use in place along our Main Street or Santa Clara Drive, allowing for these uses to blend in with existing single-family homes.
Well, being located in the historic district, we had some very clear regulations and guidelines that we needed to follow in order to turn the home into not only a commercial building, but to comply with the historic standards that were set by the city. So we had meetings with the historic committee, and they were fabulous. As we moved through the process and through the application and then the approval process, it took us about 4 months to get through that process, but it was very clear what we needed to do, and they were very helpful in giving us guidelines.
A bungalow built in the 1920s that's been renovated and now being used for a commercial kids clothing store that just opened in the last month. We think it's a great example, and we hope there's many more to come.
Okay, this next award is for Outstanding Rural Plan Award. So this award honors a written plan that advances the art and science of planning or brings awareness of the benefits of good planning. Award seeks to recognize the excellence in planning for livable and sustainable communities and with public engagement and realistic goals. Eligible nominations encompass plans of many types, but again, won't go through all those, but all different types of plans are eligible. A review panelist described the efficacy of this plan, starting with the community engagement process, calling it robust, clearly structured in phases, and commendably including non-traditional engagement methods. This organization and clarity continued throughout the plan layout in graphics and recommendations and was available to those new to the planning process, so it was easy to understand. In recognition of the demonstration of this excellence in planning, APA Utah is excited to award the Bonanza Park Small Area Plan with the Outstanding Plan 2025 Outstanding Plan Award to Park City.
For nearly 100 years, Bonanza Park has been the area outside of what most people think of as Park City, which kind of defines historic Main Street. It's been an area that's been involved in mining and the industrial center of Park City for so many years, and it's really kind of been this area that isn't associated with that historic look and feel of the city. As Bonanza Park has shifted, it's really become a commercial district. It's defined by surface parking lots and more commercial uses and a really disconnected community feel. There's no good thoroughfares, there's no good ways to navigate the district other than with the use of a car.
This area has been ripe for redevelopment for about 20 years. So in 2006, they started working through some potential redevelopments in this area, and I think it's gone through multiple iterations.
Our involvement with the community was really fundamental to the development of the small area plan. Community engagement was at the very basis of every decision that was made as part of this process. We engaged with the community both online and in person through various methods. We hosted community meetings, stakeholder roundtables, pop-ups at community events. We also had a project website, online surveys, online interactive activities. All of the results for these materials were posted online through the website. People were available and excited to participate in the process in every way possible. We had thousands of survey responses.
So I think there's been a real big desert of walkability and bikeability in this area. And so what we heard from the community was improved connections, mixed use, meaning not just commercial in this area, but also some residential components that could include workforce housing, affordable housing. And so it was really good feedback from the community.
People told us that they wanted a local neighborhood. Bonanza Park is one of the remaining locals communities in Park City, a place where locals come in, mingle, live, and people wanted to maintain some of that character. We also understood that people wanted Bonanza Park to be user-friendly, so connected, walkable, safe, and they wanted it to be inclusive. We heard a lot about accessibility to housing, and the fact that it was becoming unaffordable for many locals to live in Park City.
Cities and towns in Utah could look at this as a framework for revitalizing areas where maybe those uses have changed. With the growth in Utah, where really uses are being shifted in these areas. And also the process of going through a small area plan. Now that we've adopted this small area plan, the hard work as planners and planning commissioners is moving it into implementation through the code amendment. So that is the hard work. We have to figure out a way to craft this vision that we have in this plan and codify it in a way that's palatable for the community, for developers, and for all parties that will be involved in reading that code.
Okay, I have the honor to present the Outstanding Plan for an Urban Award. This award honors a written plan that advocates the science and art of planning or brings awareness of the benefits of good planning. The award seeks to recognize excellence in planning for livable and sustainable communities with public engagement and realistic goals. Eligible nominations encompass plans of many types, including, but not limited to, comprehensive, strategic, transportation, energy, environment, economic development, urban design, tourism, rural, cultural/historic, neighborhood, or tribal planning. This plan was noted as providing an effective communication and public engagement strategy by the review panel. The city utilized graphics and themes to share information and provided residents with robust public engagement. One reviewer specifically noted the quality of the community engagement in developing this plan and clear outline of next steps to implement the community's vision. APA Utah is excited to provide recognition to Sandy City for the Pace of Progress Sandy City General Plan 2025 with the 2025 Outstanding Plan Award.
This project is all about crafting communities. So our city's initial general development plan was established in 1979. I was carrying a metal lunchbox to school at that time. A lot has happened in our community since. It was time that we did a top to bottom review to make sure that our neighborhoods were cohesive, that we were working together with our residents, and that we were integrating voices that were actually changing. Because Sandy 15 years ago, 20 years ago, was in a let's build it, let's go. But in the last 10 years, there's been a distinct shift. People now feel kind of threatened by density taking over their neighborhoods. And so we had to pivot as a city and say, are we doing enough to give a clear path to our development community and our residents? The project was so big that Sandy couldn't do it on her own. When we got the call from Sandy City, we were understandably super excited. This project was so multifaceted that it was not only a general plan, but it was really the opportunity to shine with station area plans and the commercial revitalization plans, which then became the neighborhood activity centers. So not only did we do a general plan, but we actually got to test out our general plan policies with these small area plans. Community engagement was the #1 priority, and our consultant tells us it was a record amount of outreach that they've ever experienced. We had over 2,000 points of public input. It's absolutely remarkable. The citizens of Sandy were great. We not only had open houses, but we did a lot of tabling events. And so we went to the 4th of July celebration, we went to the Hot Air Balloon Festival, and we were able to really get into the community and meet a myriad of different people. This plan really reflects that. It wasn't just those coming to the open house who either had the time or were extremely passionate, but we got to hear from the everyday Sandy citizen.
You have to be committed to the process and motivate your city to come in and participate. But at the end, what we have is something that's very worthwhile, something that we can rely on that says this speaks for the voices of today's Sandy.
As a city that's 95% built out, a specific challenge was that we didn't have a lot of acreage to really dig into and start from new. And so we really had to look at a lot of redevelopment, small changes that we could make that would make a big impact. We really had to be intentional and context sensitive.
We're going to reference our general plan, we're updating our general development code, and we're going to have a very clear and unifying plan for our future growth.
It's really great to see that our general plan actually is leading to something because we took it a step further and put it through these small area plans.
Okay. the Public Outreach Award. A great segue to this. The project or process that meaningfully engages the public through information, consultation, coordination, collaboration, and/or empowerment means. Awarded projects highlight innovation or extraordinary effort in encouraging inclusive public participation in planning efforts. When the panel reviewed this nomination, they noted that the awardee provided robust and thoughtful participation and implementation strategies that are clear, detailed, input-driven, and aligned with established priorities. Given the efforts and dedication to meaningful and inclusive engagement, APA Utah is proud to recognize the Salt Lake City Community Electrified Transportation Study with the 2025 Public Outreach Award.
The city has committed to an ambitious climate goal. Our primary goal is reducing community-wide greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2040. Equity was at the core of this study, and it informed our engagement strategies and the study development because our underserved populations are disproportionately impacted by poor air quality in our region. So we really want to make sure that we develop strategies that will benefit all of our residents across the region. And we also really wanted to make sure that we understood the challenges that our underserved communities will face as we transition to electrified transportation.
The outreach plan itself, especially in regards to the public and the community, was co-developed with community equity leaders and the city itself, and just trying to figure out how to be strategic about our approach.
During that process, we really learned that more is not necessarily better when it comes to engaging residents, and that quite a lot of engagement had already been done around some of these topics in Salt Lake City.
We utilized existing outreach results wherever it existed. We were fortunate enough to have the Aspire group at Utah State University, which is a electrification transportation research group, had recently done a pretty in-depth survey that asked a lot of the questions we were asking.
The main theme of the community, of the feedback that we received from the community, was the gap in knowledge about electrified transportation. We can summarize that in 2 questions. Is it easier and is it cheaper?
Only 3% of the survey respondents felt that they had enough information to make an informed decision about whether or not to buy an electric vehicle.
Communities on the west side of Salt Lake City were pretty burned out, had experienced a lot of engagement fatigue, especially with a lot of projects that would go out, ask questions, use that information to inform their studies, projects, whatever, and not hear anything back.
The input that we received from stakeholders and from community members in Salt Lake City helped us to identify these kind of 4 focus areas for action: advocacy, convening and collaboration, community adoption, charging infrastructure, and the medium and heavy duty vehicles.
We are also using the results of this study to figure out where and how to roll out more charging infrastructure across the city, with a focus on our underserved communities, as well as in areas of the city where people may not have access to home charging.
One lesson that planners could learn from this project would be tapping into the resources that are available, look into the local universities, look into other efforts that may be in a slightly different area from what you're working in, see what's out there, see what's available, and tapping into the community, especially the leaders themselves, not necessarily the electeds, but more the well-known people in the community that just know what's going on, have their ear to the ground.
If we can achieve all this, then we will have healthier, more vibrant communities, and we'll also be able to reach our climate goals and improve our air quality.
We were talking backstage
about the award ceremony and what a great job Alyssa's done. And I shared that it really is, this is my favorite part of the conference. We as planners, we don't have the opportunity, I think, oftentimes to be acknowledged for the great work that we're doing and the impact that we have on our communities. And what a privilege it is to be a part of this and be able to recognize those communities, those individuals, those organizations that are doing such great work in the state of Utah. The next award, we have 2 more awards. This award is the Morris Johnson Award. It's a Lifetime Achievement Award for an individual who's made significant and unique contributions to planning in Utah over an extended period of time. And this is a unique award where the nomination comes from the APA Utah Executive Board. So the awardee for this award this year has provided 34 years of dedicated service in the highest ideals of city planning. During his career, he's inspired and mentored planners who today work and provide great communities for all. A member of the awards committee described the great impact his lectures in the City and Literature course that he co-leads in the City and Metropolitan Planning Department at the University of Utah had on their planning education. Give the significant contributions to planning and planners in Utah, APA Utah is proud to recognize Mark McGrath with the 2025 Morris Johnson Lifetime Achievement Award.
I traced my urban planning career, I guess, back to when I was in the 4th grade. My brother and I both received our first model railroads for Christmas that year. He focused on building his railroad empire on his side. I was much more focused on building my city, building my community. So I guess I had my initial urban planning experience when I was about 10 years old. My first professional job was with the city of Midvale. I ended up staying at Midvale for about 9 years. One of the real advantages of being a one-person planning staff was I got to be involved in everything. So it was a real learning experience for me. I wasn't pigeonholed in any way. I was exposed to everything. Midvale was a very centrally located community, and so a lot of things happened in that city. We had freeway exits, we had the light rail, we had a historic district, we had historic neighborhoods. Midvale was a very interesting canvas for a young planner. So in the year 2000, I left Midvale after about 9 years of employment there to come here to Taylorsville. Over the last 5 years or so, I've been more focused on bringing some projects to the finish line, including the new Mid-Valley Express Bus Rapid Transit project and the associated streetscape and active transportation trails. I was involved in the creation of this space, Centennial Plaza, which has really kind of evolved into our community living room. I think one of the real challenges with large-scale projects like this is just how long it takes to get to the finish line on these things. The Mid-Valley Bus Rapid Transit, I've literally been working on that for 16 years now. I think the most rewarding thing I have experienced here in Taylorsville is the people I've worked with. I've been able to hire so many great planners here. Really, a lot of the best in this region all pass through our doors here at Taylorsville. Planning is such a huge profession. A planner can be involved in something as meaty and as important as climate change, and then in the same day you may be issuing a chicken permit. This is a profession that it's really easy to get jaded and become cynical. I have been lucky to have been teaching this class at the university over the last 15 plus years, and being exposed to these kids who approach the profession with so much enthusiasm and so much of this spirit of I'm ready to make the world a better place. If I was to offer up any advice to young planners, it's learn how to tell your story. The reality of this profession is that we aren't decision makers. We are more advisors, we're educators. So many of the things that we think are important to creating great communities is so counterintuitive to the general public. You need to learn as a young planner, how do you communicate those ideas to make them make sense to the general public and to decision makers?
All right, so the last award for the ceremony is the Beehive Award of Excellence. And this is a unique award in that nominations aren't made specifically for this award. We review the awards committee's recommendations, their comments, and select the award or the nomination that really seemed to rise above the others. And so it's a prestigious award. It's the prestigious award that APA Utah has the honor of giving. And the award does exemplify amazing planning work in Utah. And the project that won the award this year scored the highest of all submitted nominees. The review committee cited the project's timeliness, applicability, and transferability among communities in the Rocky Mountain West. One described the course highlights video as so informative that they were compelled to take the course, and that it was a tremendous opportunity for communities who are in resorts or gateways with challenges with short-term rentals and accessory dwelling units. It is our honor to award the Utah Beehive Award of Excellence to the NAR Academy, Understanding and Managing Short-Term Rentals.
We developed an online course around short-term rentals and short-term rental regulations for communities who are looking to understand the use better and decide what they want to do with it. So we work a lot with gateway communities, ski resorts, national parks, lakes, and they see a lot of these. The biggest challenge was there's not a lot of research around short-term rentals, best practices on developing regulations for them because it is such a new use. The second biggest challenge is just the level of emotions that they inspire in people because they impact a lot of personal values, whether that's private property rights or neighborhood or community character or housing affordability, really deeply held values people have. Short-term rentals touch on all of them. We interviewed over 30 professionals, whether community leaders, practitioners, short-term rental experts, technology experts, to try and get a really wide variety of perspectives and expertise and data to really inform what's actually happening if you pull the emotions out of the conversation and really try and get down to what this use is, what it does, and how it's impacting your community. And the goal of the course is really to help communities understand that story for their unique context. It's been great to hear from local leaders from communities who don't necessarily have a full-time planner, to hear from them that they feel more qualified to have conversations around it. And so even though they don't have professional training in planning, they feel like they understand more about what's available to them. It's also been really rewarding to hear people say that they've been able to think about the use in a different way. So if they came in 100% gung-ho against it, they understood some of the benefits that came from it. And if they came in to the course 100% pro short-term rental, they were able to see some of the challenges that the use can cause for communities. One of the benefits of like looking at regulations and approaches at that scale, like a regional wide Western scale, is that you get to see really cool things that other states are trying, other communities are trying, that we could bring to Utah. And maybe we can't do them now, but there's options in the future that we could have different approaches here too.
All right, let's get one more round of applause for the awards committee, our award winners. As well as all of you that had submitted nominations. Our awards, Alyssa did a great job of growing the program this year. The number of awards we gave out, I think, may have been a record high. We were able, I think, in every category to give out an award. So we appreciate your nominations. And those of you that have won, we encourage you to utilize the videos in submitting your awards and projects at the national level, as well as from other organizations. We definitely think you are worthy of being recognized in any way. So this brings us to the end of our time here in the depot for the morning. The conference will now be transitioning over to the Megaplex. We'll be back here again in the morning at the depot. But our sessions will be over at the Megaplex starting at 11:30. For those of you that are going on the mobile tours, they are meeting out front of the depot. So you just go out and outside. And additionally, the 11:30 session is TBD in the program, is going to be Mitchell Silver's presentation titled From Plan to Action, Implementation Strategies for Planners. So we look forward to seeing you all over at the Megaplex. Oh, for those of you that won awards, we are having the awards reception over at the where WFRC's offices. I started to say that and I thought, wait, that may not be right. You're invited to join us for the reception over there. Otherwise, we will see you over at the Megaplex here shortly.